This is Wrevample IM, your gateway to original content.
Welcome to Holy Family Medical Center, Resurrection Healthcare. If you have a family member who needs to be resurrected, call 1-847-297-1800. That's a real number, Holy Family Medical Center, Resurrection Healthcare. I don't know if any of you little geeks want to check that out to try to see if they resurrect people or not. But it'd be funny to find out what they're all. I haven't even looked them up on the internet or anything. I just have a little tape measure, and it says all that. It's a really old tape measure. It says Resurrection Healthcare. But anyway, so it kind of goes with the topic of discussion today. So I'm talking about how basically I believe, because technically I am a fake. I call myself a fake in a possessive sense. I consider myself a fake, which is basically somebody who tortures other people in their minds. And I do that because I'm schizophrenic. But I believe that if there was actually a war in the astral planes and there are people being tortured in their minds, I know that it would just be an isolated incident. Like there'd only be a few people being tortured, burning in fire and all that stuff. Well, you can imagine the kind of stuff I would do to people in my mind. But, there'd only be a few people in that. It'd be like a little game or something. And the reason I say that is because we have a history to back that up. Our whole history is based on some sort of territorial warfare. The Bible's completely territorial. And, in France, 90% of the population was peasantry. They had a peasantry where they lived off subsistent farming. What was going on with the plague and the weather was terrible. There was the little ice age. And, these kind of things in our history kind of tell us a story that for some reason humans were very territorial. And what I tend to think is that they were also very sick people. And the reason I say that is because, there's evidence in our blood that says, a lot of people don't have very good immunity and stuff. So I drink a lot of lemonade, you guys. I drink a lot of lemonade. I want really good immunity, so I never get sick like that. Can you imagine just being normal one day and then turning into a completely territorial human? So the way I see it is that we're using these fakes, these people who torture other people in their minds. And if you just put a few fakes out there, even if the world exists in a territorial state, you can have some sort of subsistent condition where people are living happily. And it's not going to be world peace or anything. I wouldn't call them angels. An angel's a lot different than a fake. I don't believe in angels necessarily, because angels mean that, if there was like a rapture or something, that would mean that everybody is being protected. And as long as they're Christian or whatever, I don't believe that bullshit. You only need to protect a few people to really be happy. And I know that's not like really a social science or anything. It's more of a game, that we're playing. But the government basically exists so that way we can, it says right here, a few things about how we're trying to use the system abroad. And what that creates is kind of like a government that exists to make a difference, for the people who do live here. And that's what I believe the government is all about, trying to help people, in the marginal area. So anyway, I might just go ahead and try to swing this in here. I'm going to try to go ahead and read what I got on my first little script here, and see if I can perfect it the first time. So here we go. They say you shouldn't kill people in thought. That goes without saying. There are those of us who feel that the territory of the mind must be protected. We must answer this question to continue. Are there people who exist that can torture the minds of others? And if you want to use my impression, please understand that the attacks that are happening in the astral planes are not intentional. The attacks are actually isolated incidences. We call the people who possess spiritual planes with their weapons fakes. We are using fakes to procure the mental state of well-being. We are not trying to create or establish a new world order. We are using the system abroad to create the differentiation between the powers of evil, fear, and the good that does exist in anger. What it boils down to isn't a social science or scheme. It is a game we are playing, where only a few dangerous people have become eliminated, which means, at one point, our ecosystem did exist in territorial decay. This is all history, and what happens within the astral planes of war is not done to create peace. We are only trying to sustain subsistent conditions. This is how we live, and it is everything about what we become.
Come, this is the power we have made. It has finally been procured, and you provided the last sample we needed. Imagine the core of the planet will become a seed. In time it will be the Earth that decides how the rest of the world is shaped. A mighty Earth Odin can change.
I didn't want it to be like this. The giants are destroying everything. Our entire civilization will be buried.
Come, this is the power we have made. It has finally been procured, and you provided the last sample we needed. Imagine the core of the planet will become a seed. In time it will be the Earth that decides how the rest of the world is shaped. A mighty Earth Odin can change.
I didn't want it to be like this. The giants are destroying everything. Our entire civilization will be buried.
The T-Man continued his relentless banter, hopes he could wake up one of the ancients. When the ancient awoken, he explained to the T-Man why he was burning in hell. He told him that the fake was a mere observer, that the T-Man created his own hell. However, the fake was tricking the T-Man into believing he was the one who sent him to hell in order to forge the weapons there and use them.
This is